I think that everyone who works in the emergency room, almost any emergency room, needs to be evaluated at least twice a year for psychological damage. When I say everyone, I mean housekeeping, dietary, because no matter what, you're going to see stuff. See, Mary Ann she was housekeeping in the ER, but her job was also to go into all the rooms after everybody was done having a crisis and clean it up. And she was like, Dr. Hill, did you see that? I said, yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. And so you can't get away from some of that stuff. You can't get away from it. Now, here's the thing. I mean, I'm kind of just speaking off the top of my head. I decided early on that I wasn't going to try to get away from certain things. I mean, that wasn't me. I'm going to try not to know you. That's not me. And you in life crisis. That's my natural inclination to try to know you or your people, because even then, without even having really to be told, I was acutely aware that caring for a pediatric patient, you were caring for their parents also. I was that was like obvious from the start. See, some shit to me always was obvious from the start. It was obvious. You shouldn't have to be taught that. You should have learned that from your mother, your father. All of that stuff changed me. See. And I had a natural ability to tolerate crisis. You kind of don't know that. And it's actually not the kind of thing you want to learn about yourself. Because to learn that about yourself, you would have to be in some very fucked up situations. Okay? The kind of medical training I had does that to you. See, when I had to draw blood on a patient and couldn't get it, not only did I feel incompetent, I felt bad for having hurt them, to me in a way that seemed unnecessary. Why should they have to suffer by having me as their physician? So everybody at County Hospital had to go through those kinds of things. So I learned to be very good with needles, but look how that kind of cost me. It cost me the time that I wasn't good, but I learned to be very good, very good. Very good, and very good in crisis situations. And at County Hospital, there's certain diseases. Okay, so I took care of every the worst complications of viral illness that were ever, the absolute worst, and tuberculosis of everything, every organ system, everywhere, everything. I diagnosed malaria in the emergency room. They damn near give you they ring like a bell. They call you, Dr. Hemsley, your test was positive, because you have to request malaria tests. So they call you back like you hit the lotto. Dr. Hemsley, your malaria request was positive. I ran down the hall, tell them. Oh, they all came down to see the patient. All of that came at a price. See, at the time, as a black man especially, I recognized that the way to deal with racism was to try, if possible, to be the best trained motherfucker in the room. Now, that's not necessarily possible. And I had no idea that that was possible with me, but at County Hospital, do whatever are the natural processes that one goes through as one is developing as a physician. I obviously had some leadership characteristics, or so they say. So, I was selected to be chief resident, and they basically asked me to choose who I wanted as the other one, to tell you the truth. People don't even know that. And the chief resident was a faculty position. He ran the ICU and supervised the residents. And, you know, it had prestige at County Hospital because you ran the ICU 24 on and 24 off. You were responsible for the ICU. You were under Larry Opass, who ran the ICU. And he was on you to make sure everything was in tip-top shape at all times. And that meant you also had to know every patient that was admitted to the hospital. So every day, you know, you had morning report. And so the way we did it, I can't remember, we went every other day and then you did the weekend. And we would rotate because if you did the weekend, you had to come in and round with the resident. So as chief resident, we had to come in on the weekend and round. Now, I might have rounds later on the weekend, like, 8 o'clock. No, so I'm just saying. Because staff was getting there. See, usually, I can't remember all this shit. I think when we meet at 7, can't remember, because staff was getting there. See, I think I had to meet at 7. That's why I hated it. That's why we both didn't go to rounds every day. Because start at 7, the staff is coming at 8. So you got to talk to the residents to see what shit they fucked up overnight. First of all, you're supposed to know that anyway, because if they fucked up shit, you don't know it, and you find it out then, it's already some shit gonna hit the fan. See, so y'all don't understand. My boss, when I was chief, he would walk by my office, you know, like, he would say, it'd be like getting late, 5, see, we be leaving. He'd be like, leaving. Because he always left late too. And he was like, you got an idiot on call tonight. Don't let him kill anybody. I don't care what you got to do. I don't care if you have to sleep here. Don't let him kill anybody tonight. And he would say, have a good night. I mean, you like going, it's because, you know, there are some people that weren't good. They weren't good, you guys. They weren't good. We had to compensate for that. You know, and they also, at County Hospital, every specialty had their, like, patients that they were in love with. And if they came to the hospital with anything, everything better be right. And let me tell you something. The only thing worse than doing something wrong was doing unnecessary shit that they already had done. Don't just go ordering extra shit. They will be so, hell no. Hell no. Hell no. So there was a lot of stress in this, okay? And plus, you would have these moments where shit would actually get so fucked up. It would get so fucked up that it was like fantasy levels of fucked upness. Just unbelievable shit. Just, you don't even, I can't even categorize the kind of cases you could get one after another. One night at County Hospital, between midnight and 8, I put 6 babies on ventilators. 6. Between midnight and 8. I was running, you know what that night, when you know when it hit 8? That's when they hit 8 and the new people came in, that's when I could take a breath. 6. I had a patient one time, we could not get the DNR order, do not resuscitate. So back then we would resuscitate. You would run it like a drill. But the patient started, The patient started coding at 8 o'clock and then proceeded to have some form of respiratory, cardiac, bradycardia, something require resuscitation, essentially every hour almost, through the whole night. I coded her a bunch of times. I let the junior code her like 4 times. The interns, I get each intern code her like 3 or 4 times. I was about to let the student code her. Okay. And then, because it was like, why couldn't they get a DNR order? And so, because it became a thing where I just wanted her to be alive in the morning to present her to staff and say, she's still alive. But like right before staff got there, she died. So it changed the discussion. See, I wanted staff to have to come in there and deal with her. I actually wanted them to walk in and have her go through a whole episode right there in front of them, where we have to code her right there in front of staff. See, just to show how ridiculous it was to not have the DNR order, that someone didn't push harder. It was just fucked up stuff. I remember, and I don't remember, everybody can't take it the same, you guys. I just remember one night, like my junior, I can't remember what happened. It would just be something really fucked up. I'm just saying, kid shot by accident on a driveway through the neck, come in full damn near arrest. Just shit found at the bottom of the pool, bathtub, parents sleeping with the baby, roll over on them, suffocate, come in. It was just a bad night. And so my junior was starting to freak out. She was starting to freak out. And rightly so. It was like fucked up. And I knew I was like, I could see it, she was freaking, she was starting to, it was like anybody, you would be fucked up. And I had to say to her, listen, you got to take a breath because we weren't done. We weren't done. It wasn't over. The night wasn't done. We still had work to do and other sick people coming. And I said to her, you got to take a deep breath. I said, I can't get you to ever unsee what you saw. I saw it too. And for us, we wear those things like a scar. You're going to have that this night. You're going to have this night in your mind the rest of your life. This night. This time. You have to take solace in the fact that we're doing the best we can in a situation that's untenable, and we're actually helping people. But, some things are intended to go the way they're going, and we are here. And you're going to have to deal with it. Even though you will be scarred, we are all scarred. And I'm going to tell you something. As fucked up as it is, you have to go cling to the idea that you need to remember that this is happening to the patient. As fucked up as it is, it's not happening to you. Even though you're going to be scarred and affected, I'm telling you, later on, tomorrow, this morning, when you go home, later on this evening, when you go home, it's going to be different. It's going to be over. You'll still be scarred, but it'll be over. It will be, I promise you. And you will keep, I want you to keep repeating to yourself, it's happening to the patient. It's not happening to you. You're getting scarred by having to watch it and ride shotgun on it. But it's not happening to you. And let me tell you, when I would get home, see, when you get home from county hospital, whatever your little apartment is or wherever you're at the time, just the quiet and peace. Like for me, it would be like the cat or the dog or something. Just the quiet, the peace, and you would literally you'd be fucked up. You would be fucked up. And you had to sit there for a moment. You really got to sit there for a moment and gather reality. I had to do this all the time. And it had to come over you, kind of. It didn't happen to you. You all right. And then the phone will ring, right? It'll be your woman or somebody you know. And just to hear that normal voice, hey, how you doing? Hey, hey. It would pull you further back into a different reality. Just to hear, see, for me, just to hear that woman's voice. See, and that's why when she would come to me, see, when she would come to me, that's the time when you in there and you in bed with your woman and she throws her arm over you and she hugs you, that you just cling. You just cling to it. You just cling. You just be like, oh, this shit. Oh, thank you, Lord Father. This feels so wonderful. This feels so wonderful. This feels so wonderful. So just hold me, please. Just hold me, please. See, because you just need to erase that day. You just need to erase that day. See? Just need to erase that day. You just be like, just hold me, please. And you might rub on that scar a little bit. Your new scar. Warrior. All warriors got scars. See? All warriors got scars. You can't do it. You can't do it and not get scarred. You can't do it and not get scarred. If you live and do it, then you will be scarred. That's the price that comes with it. Like I said, everybody who works in a busy ER needs to be evaluated twice a year. And if you working in the ER and you ain't smoking no weed, I'm not really sure how you doing it, tell you the truth. You know, a lot of people become alcoholics. You got to do something. You either that or what? You running marathons. You must be doing some intense meditation. Let me tell you something. You work in the ER. You better be doing some intense shit to stay normal. You got to. I'm just saying. It's hard as fuck to stay normal. I don't care if you just delivering food trays. Okay? But if you like Mary Ann, who has to clean up the rooms and the cubicles after the codes, who's got to mop the blood up off the floor after she's wet, because half the time she got to wait for them. She's watching what's going on in the room, trying not to see. Because then she got to go in there and clean it. And she's thinking somebody dead here. Sometimes she has to start cleaning the room while they still in there, covered up. Everybody working the ER need to be evaluated twice a year. Okay? Peace.